Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of our online interview update session here today with Aurania Resources. And the founder, CEO, and chairman, Dr. Keith Barron, is here with us. Hey, Keith, good to see you. How are you?
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag. Great. Where are you today in the world?
I'm actually in Bogota, Colombia.
In Bogota, okay, super. So traveling again, great.
Yeah.
So that sounds to me like that you are coming from Ecuador, meaning you have been on the field, right?
Yeah, I've been down there for a month. I'm actually headed home. So
okay,
this is just a pit stop.
Great. Okay, super. Yeah, great that you have the time for an update interview, as you had some fantastic news releases, I would say, and it looks like that things are really opening up here and getting better and better with Aurania, as you have this super large property there in Ecuador, and we heard already about copper gold, of course, but now I saw with Tiria-Shimpia we talk about silver gold targets, and we talk about silver and zinc. So what's going on there?
Well, when we started this thing, it's more than about a year and a half ago, we thought this was a simple vein system. It's turned out to be a what we call a limestone replacement. So it's lead, zinc, silver. It's massive ore, which is at the contact between a limestone and a sandstone. But it's not just in one place, it's actually stacked vertically. So we've seen up to 7 different layers of this mineralization vertically stacked in the field. You can see them in cliff exposures, and one of them is actually 50 meters in thickness, 50 meters, which is really quite incredible. Now, laterally, this goes for 15 kilometers. We haven't found the ends of it yet. And across the strike, across the trend, it goes for about 3 kilometers. So this is something that is very, very, very large. And it's not just a little vein thing that's maybe a meter wide and really has very minimal volume to it. This thing has got horsepower. It really does. And of course, we haven't put a drill hole in it yet. But if you follow our press releases, you'll see that we're starting to diamond saw this stuff in the field, and we're getting assays across the different thicknesses and releasing that to the market. And so far, everything's looking really, really, really interesting. I don't know where this thing is going to go, but I can tell you right now that there is very little out there in the marketplace anywhere in the world that is being examined at this time. We don't have any peers, not in the lead, zinc, silver space right now. So this is very, very interesting for us. And it is only just one facet of this incredible property that we have. I call it the jewel box because we have copper, we have lead, zinc, silver, we have copper, silver, and sediments. We have copper porphyry potential. And right now we're drilling for epithermal gold, silver as well. So it's a strange geological, really a bunch of things that just happened and came together in the same place at the same time, and in a good way. So we've got all these different styles of mineralization that are juxtaposed. People say, God, what is Keith going insane? 1 week he's talking about copper and next week he's talking about lead, zinc, silver. That can't he even recognize minerals in the field anymore?
Yeah. Honestly, I was asking myself the same thing. As a shareholder of your company. So crazy.
Well, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? And we're reporting on the field results as anyone would in our business. It's all legitimate. And I've been saying for a long time, because this property is so huge and because there's all these different styles of mineralization, it gives us a lot of optionality. We've got lead, zinc, silver for the silver people. We have epithermal gold, silver for the gold people. We have copper from the copper people. And eventually it'll get to a stage where we decide to either spin things out or to do JVs. You know, I guess my duty to the shareholders here is to maximize value for them and to give them multiple bites of the apple. And that's what I intend to do. I do not want this whole company to be swept up by one of the majors and we get paid for, I don't know, maybe for Tiria-Shimpia and nothing else, and everything else comes for free. That's what happened back in the Aurelian days. We had a whole bunch of copper prospects. They all went for free. I'm not having that happen again. So we're watching it very, very carefully. And at some point, we're going to pull the switch on this. And but, you know, it'll be contingent on getting the results. Absolutely. But I can tell you right now that all the majors are looking at us very, very closely right now.
Yeah, I mean, I really can, only guess what they are thinking, because first of all, your enormous land position, but also you traced that over 15 kilometers. I mean, this is crazy large. Even if I would take, let's say, 1/3 or the half of it, it would be crazy. And you also enlarged Tiria-Shimpia already by 120% from the previous, what you have found. Yeah. So would you say that Mother Nature has played, let's call it, a little bit of a funny game in mineralization and geology here?
Well, there's a couple things that are in place here. Well, to the south of us, and Solaris released a fantastic hole this morning, 800 meters of mineralization in one of their copper porphyries, and that's just south of our southern boundary. There's every reason to believe that we have similar sorts of things on our property, just extending maybe even the entire length of the property. But ours are not at the surface. They're buried. So they're under, I don't know, 100, 200, 300, 400 meters of sediment. But because they have that sediment on top, that sediment in this case has got a lot of organics in it. It's got petroleum actually in it. This basin that we're looking at previously was looked at by the oil companies right back to the 1940s, and they drilled a bunch of holes looking for oil. And we reported very recently at Kuri-Yawi, we're finding petroleum, we're finding a thing called pyrobitumen actually in the veins, in the epithermal veins. And this has got everything, I believe, to do with precipitating the gold and the silver into the veins. Out of solution, the fluids that were carrying these metals and dropping it out. The same thing happens in the copper, silver, Kupferschiefer style stuff that we have. Same thing again in the lead, zinc, silver. These things, the sediment hosted deposits probably existed all the way to the south, down to the border with Peru, but they were eroded away and they're gone. And in our case, we have them fully preserved, and we have the roots underneath them, the porphyry coppers that are driving the systems and providing the metals to the whole thing. So it's, you know, Gregor Borg, who's a very, very well-renowned scientist from Germany, said a couple of years ago that this property we have is supercharged. He said it's a double whammy. He's never seen a situation where you have both porphyry copper potential and sedimentary hosted metal deposits. So this is what's happened. And I haven't lost my mind. This is actually what's going on.
That's good news.
Yeah. But one thing I want to share with you, Jochen, it's very, very important, and this involves the majors, because last week, Guillermo Lasso won the election. And Guillermo Lasso is the ex-head of the Bank of Guayaquil. He's a businessman. He won by about 5%. So it was a convincing win. But the socialists are out of power. And what that means now is that the political risk, actually a number of the different reporting agencies dropped their political risk. It kind of went like this, and then woof, when the win was announced. And so I think that majors are going to feel a lot better and safer about working in Ecuador. And today there was a report that came out from the Mining Journal focusing on copper, saying, where are the copper resources going to come from in the future? Because there's nothing in the pipeline. And people say to me, especially Americans all the time, they say, oh, you know, we don't like political risk in South America, we don't like Ecuador. But what's happened in the US? Resolution, which is BHP RTZ's biggest project, stalled in the courts. Pebble, which is the largest copper porphyry unmined in the whole world, up in Alaska, stalled in the courts, right? It's not going to happen in the US. And they're pulling out all the stops here in Ecuador, and Ecuador is going to zoom ahead of all these other jurisdictions. And this is going to be the focal point, I think, for all the metals that are needed for the green revolution.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds like a big thing which is coming up here. And when this is fully discovered, I could imagine also your stock price starts running, to be honest. Fantastic.
I hope so.
Let's talk shortly about Kuri-Yawi also, which is also one of the targets you have in Ecuador. And yes, I found that really interesting. You said in the press release, I consider this discovery of pyrobitumen to be potentially of high significance. So yes, what does that mean? What makes this, let's say, so special, and what is going on with the drilling there?
Yeah, well, pyrobitumen is essentially carbon, and it's the stuff that's left behind after petroleum, crude oil, is heated, and all the different things like gasoline and all the small molecule fractions are driven off. It's the last thing that's left. And, you know, the oil sands in northern Alberta, they're full of this stuff. But in our case, what's happened is that it's been mobilized out of the black shales, of the organic shales at depth, by the hydrothermal system, which is potentially carrying gold. And we know, because this has been seen in other parts of the world, for instance, the McLaughlin deposit, which was one of the richest deposits that Homestake Mining ever had in California, is full of pyrobitumen. There's another one called Esquel in Argentina, full of pyrobitumen. When these things have been found, when you found pyrobitumen in epithermal deposits, in deposits which are associated with hot springs like we have, it usually means there's gold in almost every case. So I you know, fingers crossed, touch wood. Yeah. I'm hoping and expecting, because you see, we found all these what I call pathfinder elements on the surface: arsenic, antimony, selenium, thallium, mercury, in abundance on the surface, with these hot spring sinter deposits. So this is at the old land surface. It's very much like Yellowstone Park, where they had geysers, where they had hot springs, hot mud pools, and all this stuff. And the enrichment is there on the surface, but there's no gold. So what happened to the gold? Well, I think is that the gold got hung up at depth with pyrobitumen, and it's sitting there in a concentration, and we have to nail the thing.
And so, it's waiting for you.
Yeah, that's right. So we generated this MMT survey over the top of Kuri-Yawi. Now, we drilled some holes about a year and a half ago, and those holes hit epithermal style veins, but there was nothing in them. There was no gold in them. There was silver in places, but no gold. What we found from the geophysical survey was essentially that we didn't drill in the optimal place. So we're drilling a conductive zone at depth that we can see on the survey, and we think potentially this is full of sulfides, and sulfides in this case would mean gold, we think. And we think it's sitting on top of a porphyry. Now, this hole is scheduled to be as deep as 1,200 meters. It probably won't go that deep, maybe 1,000 meters, and it's down around 600 meters now. And it's got a bit of a ways to go. But in the upper part of the hole, and we already reported on it, we found epithermal style veins with sulfides, with quartz, with carbonates, and a little bit of sphalerite, which is a zinc sulfide, and pyrobitumen. So I mean, you know, anyone in my place, anyone, you know, a senior person who's actually a geologist running a company would be pleased as punch to see this. And I'm very, very happy with this development. And of course, the final arbiter will be the assay lab. But you know, even if we get just a sniff of gold in the system, we're going to have to hammer this thing with holes because it's a very big target, and it's only one of an epithermal style target. We've got them going for 60 Ks, 60 kilometers across the property. It's incredible, right? Yeah. I've never seen anything like this. And this is just the upper expression of porphyry copper, porphyry intrusions at depth into this area. So it's remarkable.
Super. Okay, last question. You have raised like almost 7 million Canadian dollars, I think, in the last weeks, right?
Yeah, and over 7 million actually.
Over 7, super, perfect. And so the big question is, where do you go first with the money?
Well, gosh, we have to put some holes in Tiria-Shimpia and see what's in the subsurface, because the stuff on surface just looks so compelling right now. And I mean, God knows how many different levels we have that are repeated at depth. We just don't know. So that's a priority for us, and we'll be doing that soon. Now we drilled the first hole at Tsenken N1, and we pushed the drill as hard as we could, and it was the small drill. So I think we got down to something like 720 meters, something like that. And then it bogged out. It could not go any further. It's like the little engine that could. So it just ran out of steam. Yeah. And so we pushed it as far as we could. Now we're going to do another hole nearby, which we think will be potentially hitting mineralization at half the depth. And if warranted, we'll get another drill in. We'll bring another rig. So, you know, we're cashed up. We have the money to do these things. And as long as the rigs are available, we'll gobble them up. And, oh, God, you know, at some point we're going to have many rigs on this property, I should think. But that's for the future. Right now, in terms of news flow, we'll have a lot of stuff coming out. Tiria-Shimpia, Kuri-Yawi, and also Tsenken N1, which is a copper target. But we have other things as well, which are lined up. Some porphyry copper style targets that we need to put some holes in. And gosh, it's going to be very exciting.
Super, perfect. That's a great final sentence. Thank you very much, Keith. And I would say not only good luck, I would say please hit it hard and show us some very, very good results here within the next weeks and months. That would be great.
Yep, I'm doing my best.
Super, perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Keith Barron, the Chairman and CEO of Aurania Resources, and you heard it. Lots of really good things are going on the whole property, but especially Kuri-Yawi and Tiria-Shimpia. And it looks like that they are hunting here for the real big elephant, but it's not only one elephant. It looks like this is several big elephants, and we talk about lengths of 15 kilometers, 60 kilometers. This is unbelievable. We talk about silver, zinc, copper, gold, lead. Yeah, I just wait for him to bring some oil and uranium in, but maybe not. But this is really outstanding, and it looks like that they are on the hunt here for something really, really big. And as Keith stated, Ecuador really has opened up again through the elections, and it looks like that, now things are open for business here. This is fantastic. That's exactly also what the majors are looking for, because the majors love to have really large projects, because this is how they work. And so I would suggest Aurania really at prices below $3. The financing was $3.10. I think this is outstanding here to really have a very, very close look on the share and on the company. And as I'm a shareholder too, and I'm a long-term shareholder, really focused here, and I think Keith and the team will do something really big here. And stay tuned for the news releases and for the news flow for the next weeks and months. And we keep you updated. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.
Bye-bye.